Trevor Miller.
Mr Speaker, I want to acknowledge the member who's just spoken. I think he's an underrated National Party member. In fact, I was just commenting to my colleague, there are 4 members sitting in the back row who are underrated by the National Party. No, there are 3 of them who are underrated by their National Party colleagues, and it's somewhat sad from my perspective to see them treated in that way. But, Mr Speaker, the topic of the debate today is clearly the problems that are occurring in Auckland, and I'm not referring to the remarks which have been attributed to Mr Williamson, but, Mr Speaker, to the chaos on Friday night and Friday afternoon in Auckland. And I want to say that today in the House I referred to the assurances that were given during and following the 99 days to the Cup visit, and according to the Auckland City Council it was a full-day visit from Mr McCulley and Mr Joyce, where they went around and pronounced themselves satisfied with the preparations. And I want to say, Mr Speaker, that I'm somewhat saddened that repeated offers at the end of 2008, offers when the legislation were going through, and more recent offers to work on a bipartisan basis to give assistance without any need for any recognition to make sure that this thing worked well, have been spurned by the Minister, who continually said that things were in hand. Well, Mr Speaker, clearly they were not. What we had was a Minister who rejected the possibility of using the Domain as the major family-friendly with possible alcohol around the edge or in part of the Domain as being a place where it's used for carols by candlelight. It's shown an ability to take 250,000 people. Mr Speaker, that was rejected by the Minister, and he's yet to explain why that was the case. He's yet to explain why he thought, when the Prime Minister and he had been asking Aucklanders, and in fact been asking people from around New Zealand and around the world to come down to the wharf, to Party Central, why he thought only 12,000 people would come. Why did he think only 12,000 people would come to Party Central when he had been inviting them? The Prime Minister invited them 18 months ago to come down there, and we had concerts and we had fireworks, Mr Speaker. We had spectacular waka paddling, and he thought that only 5% of the number of people who go to carols at candlelight would go to this magnificent opening. Mr Speaker, I think he was told, we're assured by Michael Barnett from Auckland, a close friend of his, someone who he apparently appointed to a position over a coffee at a cafe on one occasion, so it's not as if it's someone who is distant from the National Party, was told 150,000. We're now told that that was an underestimate. Mr Speaker, I am not sure that even now the Minister knows what he is doing. I think possibly this weekend will be it'll be a bit of a test, but the real test will happen when New Zealand plays France on the 24th. The quarter-finals and the semi-finals, when there will be 4 countries there for those weekends, and the number of fans are beginning to lift, and the test will be there. Mr Speaker, we've seen, I think, one of the most spectacular ministerial failures in our time. We've seen a minister who has been appointed for a specific purpose to make sure that the Rugby World Cup works well. I think that generally he did pretty well with his changes and appointments to the board. I think it's a good board, it's worked together, it's got a good chief executive, they have delivered on the field and close to it. But, Mr Speaker, there's been an abysmal failure in the business development side of it that has been almost absolutely missing, a lot of there. And, Mr Speaker, what have we had? We've had a minister who chose the colour, the blue, the shade of blue, for the Prime Minister to mince in, but he didn't focus on the numbers who were going to go to the war.
Aaron Gilmore.
Mr. Speaker, it's always a pleasure to follow the